Welcome to the Daily Deuce. I'm Gary Graves from just outside lovely but cold Louisville, Kentucky, and in Maryland, where I'm sure it's cold and just as lovely. John Webster, how you doing this morning?
Gary, how you doing, man? Another beautiful week in sports. Can't wait to get into it with you. But yes, it is cold here. It is way too cold for me. Went out this morning. It was like 18, 19 degrees.
Oh, perfect, perfect.
No, I'm
My
not
kind,
trying
my
to
kind
be.
of weather.
I'm not trying to be a football player in Chicago or Green Bay. I need to go. I went back in the house immediately. But with that being said, man. We had an exciting college football playoff championship game between Miami, the U, and Indiana. Wonderful game, very competitive. It had a lot of twists and turns in the second half, man. What do you think
Yeah.
about it, man?
Well, yeah, a whole lot of twists and turns, and the way that it ended was kind of typical in terms of risk taking. That on the one hand, you can say that Indiana played it safe offensively. Running the ball, they did a good job of running down the clock. With a 6 point lead and trying to hold on, or well, excuse me, with a 3 point lead and trying to hold on. But Miami, taking shots down the field. Of course, Carson Beck was intercepted to basically seal a title for Indiana. But really, the two fourth down calls that Signetti made, but both of which really led to big things. I think one was like a 4th and 5 that kept that drive going, kept a drive going. Then there was the other fourth down call near the goal line, where instead of kicking the field goal, where he went for the first down, and you thought, oh man, this could either end well or it could end badly, and it ended very well with a touchdown, which turned out, John, to be kind of the deciding factor for Indiana. And it was kind of typical of the year that there wasn't a situation, and I can say this speaking personally, having seen Indiana. Of course, I'm just a couple hours down the road from Bloomington, where they're probably partying big time up there, and nobody's going to class today. But Signetti took so many chances during the year and relied on his quarterback and his players and got the job done. There's a saying that Kentucky's incoming coach said at his introductory press conference that really sticks out, and he knows this because Indiana really stuck it to his offense. But he just said, you got to feed your studs, got to feed your dudes, and that's what Signetti did. Really trusting the ball in in his quarterback's hands, and really just calling the kind of plays that he knew he could, he could execute. There's oh yeah, in the running game, again, it wasn't exciting by Indiana standards in terms of high scoring, especially since they hung something like 56 on Oregon in the previous game. But it was effective enough, and of course, John, that defense. Let's see. You had to have a little luck too with a field goal going off a goal post, but the block punt, a pivotal play, yeah, because again that provided a 10 point lead, and then the quarterback running in for a touchdown that nobody saw coming, and you're just thinking. There's got to be ice water in Kurt Signetti's veins to call a play like that in a situation like that against that defense. Let's remember that Miami had one of the top run defenses in the country, if not one of the top defenses, period. And that they always talk about percentages down there near the goal line, and Miami was very good against that. And Indiana just kept punching it in. And again, it was just typical of what we had seen, but what I had seen personally. And I keep thinking about the Penn State game where they took a shot for the end zone and the guy got his toe down with an inch to spare on a high pass before almost running into the goalpost. I mean, it was about as close as you could come. And congratulations to Indiana for basically making history. John, I don't know if you saw the stat before the game, but the Hoosiers football program had only won 42% of its games in the previous 80 some years before Signetti arrived. They've won 93%, probably now 94% in the 2 years that he's been there. Now they have a national championship. And now, John, we have to ask ourselves, is Indiana the program that everybody starts behind in the Big Ten, which is something because why? We were always talking about Ohio State and Michigan, and of course Oregon, and and some of the newcomers from the old Pac-10, Pac-12. But now you have to look at Indiana because, well, as the song goes, all he does is win, win, win everywhere he's been. And remember, he was on Lou Saban's staff. I'm assuming Nick Saban's staff. I can't believe I said Lou Saban. Now it shows you how old I am. But he would, both of them were on Nick Saban's staff, and he's got a national championship, and he's not going anywhere. He doesn't seem like the only place he's going to be going is to the bank to cash a bigger check.
Don't forget, besides going to cash a bigger check, he's going to get a beer too. So you got to remember he's doing both of those.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah, and he might actually smile, John. I mean, this is one of those moments where now he can actually smile.
Well, congratulations to Indiana. As Dante reminded me this morning, he said, "How does it feel to be the second best program in the state of Indiana?" I said, "Well, leave no doubt, Dante. Leave no doubt. That's going to be all I can say for Notre Dame until next year." I think Signetti did a tremendous job last night. Um, the 4th down and 5 call where Mendoza scored a
Yes.
touchdown. He actually had the field goal team on the field and called them off
Yeah.
and then ran the play.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
also,
remember there was confusion on that because the field goal unit was on the field, and he wasn't sure what to do, and he pulls them off. They use their second timeout, and I'm thinking, ooh, that's going to come back to bite them when when it's something like what is it, 9 minutes left, maybe less, less than 9 minutes left, and you make that kind of call, and Miami, despite its mistakes, was always within one score. Even when they were down 10, it just seemed like it was a one score game because they would get a touchdown, of course, get within a field goal. And as we saw last night, they were driving, and Carson Beck, was delivering a pass, and I don't know whether it was confusion between him and his receiver, but I mean, again, it came down to that kind of game. But I'm sorry. You go ahead and continue about Signetti.
it's no problem. But I'll piggyback on what you said. That field goal, I think Signetti, I give him credit. He realized his defense was not stopping Miami in the second half. He
Yeah,
realized Miami was getting
as good as that
touchdowns.
defense was.
They had no answer in the second half. As soon as Fletcher went off tackle on that sweep and went 57 yards, different world, different world.
Hmm.
Now I give Indiana credit; they bounced back every time Miami scored. They would bounce back and hit them again with a score, but
Hmm.
they needed the points. And the other unique thing is when they went for it on 4th and 5 and they got the touchdown, it was 17-14. If they had got the field goal been 2014, Miami's coming right back down, then Miami's up 21-20. So he knew he needed a touchdown. I just give him credit for how he went out there and did what he had to do. Um, I think also, I don't think Miami had nerves so much as they were over anxious in the first half. Um, they one of the drives they gave up 2 very costly penalties, if I remember. One was a pass interference, and then another was like offsides, and that led to a touchdown. Jumping off sides is one where that's over anxious.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't pull your motor back.
Yeah.
So in the second half, Miami made some adjustments, but they still, you know, Indiana would always find a way. Number 80 on Indiana, glue hands is what I'll call him. He caught
Oh.
everything that came his way. He didn't drop anything, and just beautiful play. The
Mhm.
defensive side in that first half, they were giving Miami fits with the looks. They were dropping 8, rushing 3,
Three.
and that
Yeah.
was giving Miami a lot of problems. In the second half, they still did it, but I think Miami and Carson Beck made some adjustments. Matter of fact, on that near the end of the game, they started finding ways to get the ball in Malik Tony's hands.
Yeah.
Was it Malachi Tony?
Malachi Tony.
And
Yeah.
they hadn't been able to get the ball in his hands most of the game. And I'm glad they didn't, because you see what happened at the end when he did that. He's a game changer, Gary. If he sticks around over at Miami and doesn't go pro, I think he's a Heisman Trophy candidate, man.
Oh, without a
He's
doubt.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
He's tough.
What's weird about games like that, yes, it settles who's best for that season, but it also gives you a window of who to look at next season, either with a team or individually. And there are a bunch of guys on both squads that you could be talking about for the Heisman Trophy. But again, Fernando Mendoza. I even think back to last year when they were in the playoff and they faced a friend of mine's favorite team from upstate, if I recall. And who would have thought that kid would be the ice in his veins quarterback that he became, the pinpoint passer, the really the game manager, all of those things, and lead that team to a championship. Now, I'll say from my standpoint, I thought Indiana could be better. They could be a contender in the Big Ten. I never saw anything like what they did this year, even with all the blowouts that they had, even with holding Ohio State Buckeyes, to 10 points in a Big Ten championship game. I always felt like, you know, they couldn't score their points. Ohio State would adjust, and then of course Ohio State, basically got handled by Miami, and what we saw last night was the result of that. But you look ahead to next season. There is nothing in either one of those programs that suggests a fall off, and I think for Miami, now that they have won a number of big games, I think the line in the ACC really does start behind them, no matter who's the quarterback, because Mario Cristobal has recruited his type of players through the portal, through the area, because of course it's like, you know, NFL caliber talent, it grows in Florida, like oranges on trees, just to
Mm-hmm.
use a state a state comparison there. Um, and again, I just don't think that anybody really appreciates what this playoff really did in kind of, I don't want to say thinning the herd, but really in establishing a new order in terms of college football, because I think we're going to be talking about the U for a long time to come, and it's a good thing because again, in the ACC, Clemson's not the same. Florida State's not the same. SMU, good enough. Yes, I think they snuck in and won a championship. Their first year, or contended for a championship rather, their first year. But again, it is still the stalwarts, and Miami is the leader right now in the clubhouse. Just like I think in Indiana, yeah, they lose a few, but you win a championship and you gain a few. And Signetti is the kind of guy, whether he brings in players from his old program, whether he recruits in the state, whether he goes to the portal, he's going to find a way to reload. And I never thought I would be talking about Indiana football the same way you talk about Notre Dame football.
Well, I give credit to Indiana. They have a they're champions. You can't take anything from them. The last 2 years, Kurt Signetti and Indiana are 27-2, Gary. 27-2. So now the only thing I'll say, I don't know if this is going to be a long-term effect for Indiana because Signetti's 66. So I don't know how many more years I see him going. I think he's as long as he's there, I think they're going to be either there or vying to be there. They're going to be in the mix each and every year. That's what I really think. And hey, man, what a game. What a wonderful game. Congratulations goes out to them. Now, with that being said, NFL, we're rounding up to the conference championships, getting ready to get close to something called a Super Bowl. Let's take a look at some of these games, man. The first game I'm going to say to you, Gary, I'll say it and we can keep moving. Seattle 41, 49ers 6. Okay, great. Congratulations, Seattle. We can keep it moving from that one.
Wait a minute,
Next one.
what? Well, but why do you want to move on from that? Because you're looking at a team that's probably going to be the Super Bowl favorite, John.
I say that because it was a blowout and we got three other games to go to.
Yeah, well, yeah, but if we're looking ahead to the conference championship games, uh, okay, I get your point. I get your point. So
we,
yeah,
we're
let's
gonna
move.
we're gonna we're gonna come back. We're
Okay,
gonna
we'll
come back
circle
and do
back.
predictions.
We have
Yeah, we're
because
gonna
we
do
have to.
predictions, but there's just not much to say about Seattle and the 49ers. It is what it is. I'll say it to you to have you understand where I'm coming from.
Mm.
It's kind of like a Commanders game sometimes, Gary. So I'll put it to you like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Patriots and Texans. Patriots dominated that game. Uh, Stroud had a rough day. New England played really well. What
Mm.
do you think, man?
New England, I'll say they were resilient. I mean, obviously they were opportunistic, but
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't until C.J. Stroud, created another turnover that you just thought he keeps shooting himself in the foot. And when a quarterback accounts for essentially five turnovers, that you just say, I don't care how good that defense is, you can't make up for five giveaways in a game of consequence on the road. Even if you survive, even if you find a way to come back and win that, your quarterback now has it in his head, either about his decision making, throwing the ball, or whether he can hold on. And the defenses only get tougher at this point. So I figure that New England, Drake May wasn't perfect, but he was effective. That defense, though, was really a pleasant surprise in terms of being there to really read him and to create that kind of pressure. Because I mean they were relentless. They racked him up like an eight ball on a pool table. Um, and I just feel like New England didn't again, they nobody really played their best games. They played well enough to win, and now they have a chance to go to Denver and prove that that they might be the best team in the AFC because Mike Vrabel has really created just a solid unit on both sides of the ball, and I feel like and a quarterback who's really gaining confidence. He doesn't have to do everything, but he's big enough to do some things, and he's got a strong enough arm to do the things that Vrabel wants him to do.
Very good points, man. It's good to see them back in the conference championship game.
Yeah,
It
who
have
would
a
have thought
very
we saw
good.
that after Belichick left? I mean, because we just thought there was going to be this huge fall off.
Well,
Excuse me.
it's nice to see them and playing in all that rain and snow outdoors in Foxborough. I
It was
love that game.
perfect. Oh yeah, it was
Oh my God,
perfect.
I was so happy. Now I'm not going to go sit in it, but I love watching it.
Hmm.
How about the Bills and the Broncos? What do you think, man?
Well, for the Broncos, it came at a price. Well, before I get into that, let's talk about the Bills and some of the fallout. Another playoff failure, another close, heartbreaking loss, and it was said after the game that it was probably going to be a game, a definitive game in terms of where this franchise goes. And of course, McDermott was fired the next day. And John, you always say it's sad when somebody loses their job. It's I don't know if it's so much about him losing his job as much as that defense, that organization has to decide what direction they want to go in, who's going to be the coach to lead them in that next direction. Now, I want to go back to another game because it's something else we were talking about, a defining game with C.J. Stroud. And I think there was a commentator who I won't name who basically said CJ Stroud was playing for his future in that game. And if you're Houston, you have to decide if that's the quarterback you want leading your offense going forward. Going to Buffalo, you have to decide if what coach is going to be good enough to take them to that next level and get something out of Josh Allen, to get a championship game, to even get a Super Bowl appearance out of Josh Allen, because that man has done just about everything he could possibly do for that offense except get them to a Super Bowl. It comes down to a coin flip. It's come down to so many things. Again, another field goal to to decide that game, and you feel for the guy, but again, yeah, it is what it is, and these kind of things fall on him, and he's going to be looked at as the guy that was good enough to get them to a certain level. It takes a good coach, it takes a great system to get him to that next level. And Buffalo's challenge now is trying to find that kind of guy.
Yeah, they got some work to do to figure it out. A lot of franchises wish they could say they've been 8-8 in the playoffs and had a 98-50 record over 9 seasons. A lot of franchises. Uh, I'll say it again, Gary. A lot of franchises, and
Yeah, yeah,
and you and I know of one already. But
yep, yep.
that
Maybe two.
yeah, you're right. Bills and Broncos, really good game.
Yeah,
Unfortunate that the Bills couldn't pull it out. There was also controversial call. I'm quite sure they'll have meetings about this or discussions about this at the owners' meeting. Here we go again. What's a catch and what's not a catch, Gary? We'll be back on that again.
yeah.
So
That one's above my pay grade, and I'm whatever they decide, excuse me, we're going to find a way to question it because somebody will interpret it differently.
the
Um,
two that I remember, I don't know if you remember them. One was a playoff game with Green Bay and Dallas. Dez Bryant caught a ball and came down. They said it was incomplete. He thought he scored a touchdown. And then the other one was Calvin Johnson. Scored a touchdown, fell down, was palming the ball,
but
fell on the ground and let the ball go. They said it was incomplete pass.
two bad
So,
two bad calls, and even though one benefited my Packers, it was still a wrong call. Yeah, after all these years, John, I'll just go ahead and say it.
yeah. And what scares the bejeebers out of me, this will be another discussion at the meetings. We'll go back to page one. What is a catch? What's not a catch? And that's really unfortunate, man. But I tell you what, trying to figure out what's a catch and what not a catch, I may want to deal with that as opposed to figuring out can I tackle him or can I not tackle him? Speaking of Caleb Williams. And
Yeah,
man, even though the Bears lost, that kid put on a show.
man, I'm telling you, I was texting everybody during when he did that because I mean you figure he runs almost 50 yards backwards and throws off his back heel and it looked like he's just throwing the ball away. and he finds a receiver in the corner of the end zone. Incredible. And of course, the thing about that is when he's running like that, it almost freezes your defense. So it doesn't surprise me that a guy was open. It surprised me that Caleb Williams found him. And it might have been, gosh, John, keep in mind, he's made several of those plays. He made one of them against Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
It might have been two of them because I want to say, you think about the comeback, the week before to win the playoff game. But remember the one near the end, end of the regular season where he made it almost like, maybe not running backwards, but he delivered a pass almost in that same area to, for a touchdown. And I just thought, this is a team of destiny. That's the way I looked at the Bears this year, and I still look at them as a team of destiny, just not this year.
They're gonna be something in the future, man. And I
Yeah,
think
no
Ben
doubt.
Johnson and Caleb Williams, they're gonna keep conjuring up some different things in that lab to continue to be successful. So we'll see, man. Now let's take a look at these conference championship games. Broncos and Patriots. What's going to happen, Gary?
Well, it's a tough one for the Broncos because I didn't mention this earlier, but right before Denver gets the game-winning field goal in overtime, that quarterback Bo Nix, broke a bone in his ankle, and he's done for the playoffs. And don't know how it happened. Of course, we know with some football injuries like that, especially with a knee or ankle or an Achilles tendon, they usually happen without contact. And he looked fine coming off the field, but then we find out that he broke a bone and he's done, and that really, really, really hurts the Broncos' chances. I feel like even at home in getting to a Super Bowl. That said, that defense is good enough. That said, I think they'll that Sean Payton will find some other ways to try to get it done with his with his backup quarterback. And the name probably better than me because it's still early in the morning here in Kentucky for me. But but he's good enough offensively to get something out of out of the next guy up on the roster. He's just got to do it in a hurry, and I guess maybe with a week to prepare, you're playing at home. Um, the shock wore off probably after about 20 25. Excuse me, yeah, I almost say 25 hours because you had 24 hours to enjoy the victory, and then that next hour is just like, oh man, what do we do now? I think Denver will adjust, but it's going to be a lot to ask, even playing at home with a new quarterback, cadence, just relationships with receivers, timing with receivers. They're probably going to play conservative, try to keep the ball on the ground and let the quarterback get comfortable and maybe try to shorten up the game for him a little bit. And if he can do that, then he can take a few shots down the field, longer balls. But I really expect a very conservative offense from Denver at this point.
Yeah, Denver is really tough. Bo Nix not being there is going to hurt them. I still think Denver
Mhm.
wins. I am rooting for New England Patriots, but I think Denver wins. Next game up, Seattle and the Rams. I told you, Gary, I was going to bring Seattle back into the equation, man. Here we go. Seattle and the
Okay.
Rams. What we got?
Whew. I mean, we've got two ridiculous quarterbacks. That's all I can really say about them. Um, Sam Darnold, I don't even know if he knows how good he's playing right now because he's just so cool. He's just so nonplussed by everything that goes on. He just gets it done. But Seattle, okay, let's go back a few years. Let's go back maybe about 10, 12 years to a team, the Legion of Boom. That defense has, what is it? Yeah, Legion of Boom, right?
Yep.
I
Yep,
keep want
you're
to say
right.
Legion of Doom. Keep thinking Marvel
You're thinking
Comics.
of NWA wrestling.
Yeah, and Marvel Comics and all that stuff. But but yeah, that defense is wicked, but that offense is downright scary. Again, I say I don't even know if Darnold knows how good he is. I don't know how good. I don't know if Seattle knows how good that offense is. They can put points on the board. They can do it in bunches. And as we saw, I think what for the second time in 3 weeks, that they just own the 49ers. Now when you're facing the Rams and Matthew Stafford, again, another offense that doesn't have to be perfect, but when they're close, yeah, when they're very good, they are hard to stop. And familiarity breeds contempt, as they say. I don't think they're going to be scared to go into Seattle and face them for what a third time. Beating a team for the third time is always going to be rough, and because of that, I'm going to go ahead and pick the Rams in that one in an upset because Matthew Stafford I don't think is done winning Super Bowls. I think he's going to get there. I think he can get there with this team because if nothing else, John, they are resilient. Remember, they've had to go on the road and win 2 games. And I don't, because they know Seattle, I don't think it's gonna intimidate them. The 12th man is not going to intimidate them.
I agree. Tough game. Uh, Part three of the trilogy. I got the Rams pulling it out. So I got Rams and Broncos in the Super Bowl, hoping for Rams and Patriots, but we'll see, man. But I
Ooh,
tell you what,
ooh,
both of those games are going to be very good.
yeah, another rematch.
Oh man, yeah, didn't they play before? Wasn't there a kid named Brady that played in the first time they played against each other?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the game that put Brady on the map. And
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I mean, when they hit him in the mouth almost from like that first or second play, that the greatest show on turf became the greatest show knocked to the turf.
Belichick's whole thing that day was to continue to hit the Rams, hit them, and hit them,
Yeah.
and they will slow down.
Yep,
And
hit him in
they
the
de-
mouth.
they definitely weren't the best show on turf that day.
Yeah.
Hey man, before we wrap it up, couple things with coaches. You had one coach who lost his job. You mentioned it earlier, Sean McDermott with the Buffalo Bills. Unfortunate. I think he'll be a candidate for some other jobs. And you have two coaches who just got hired. Jeff Hafley, did I say his name correctly? Old Green Bay
Yeah.
Packers
That's
defensive coordinator.
hmm
And Robert Saleh. Hafley is going to the Miami Dolphins. Saleh is going to the Tennessee Titans.
I'm I'm more concerned with Salah with the Titans because remember this is the team that let Mike Vrabel go, and you see where he's taken the Patriots. It's more about the organization. I think Salah is a good coach. Again, he seemed to have redeemed himself as an assistant with the 49ers. He clearly has, and earned another opportunity. But was this the right opportunity for him? Because unless the Titans feel like they can really commit to putting the kind of players on the field that can win games. I'm again. I think he's a good coach. I'm not sure if it's the right organization. I hope I'm wrong because yeah, I mean, again, Tennessee is another one of those teams that's that's within a couple of hours, and you want to see the closest teams do well. At least I do because when the Titans were good, they were fun to watch. So only thing I can say about that is let him cook. Yeah, there's probably going to be some struggles. Yeah, he's probably going to have to develop his quarterbacks, all of them into something, and it's going to take time. But just just get the right guys around him. Just show some kind of commitment to winning, and I think he'll be fine. That's always going to be the question with the Titans, much like the Jets
I knew
when he
you had to
was
get
there.
that in there.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was like when he went to the Jets, John, you knew there was no hope there. Plus, you had a quarterback that was kind of working against you there too, who shall remain nameless.
Gary, on that note, take us home, man.
Well, let's see. Okay, so John, we've got conference championship games, championship Sunday. We've got the Australian Open tennis that just started a couple days ago, and things are starting to get warmed up. I have not watched any of the early matches. I'll probably watch some today. See what's going on down under. Let's see what else. Yeah, we've got women's college basketball. I talk about that first because I have seen some great games in the past week. I mean, you look at Maryland beating USC, in conference play this week, and of course I've watched Louisville win two games, one against your Notre Dame Fighting Irish on the road, and then rallying to beat NC State. So yes, that's kind of like a couple of personal things, but we've got men's college basketball. And another one, Kentucky is not dead. They might not be ranked, but they're not dead like people had them 2 weeks ago, and which I think is ridiculous for a second-year coach, even for a program like Kentucky. So again, the point is, there's games to watch. You never know what's going to happen. We saw that with the college football championship, which was maybe not epic, but it was a great game, which is why we watch sports, which is why we talk about sports, which is why we ask you all to come back and hear us talk about it. Look at us on Facebook, look at us on YouTube, John.
Hey, another great week in sports, Gary. Thanks for everything. Hope y'all enjoyed the show. Watch some football. Well, you can't watch any more college football, but watch the NFL. See what's going to happen. See if the Rams can beat Seattle. See what happens with the Broncos and the Patriots. Watch some NCAA basketball, college NCAA basketball, men's and women's. Yes, Gary, Louisville put a hurting on my Notre Dame Irish. I think it was 73-59. Notre Dame is now 12-5. Woo, they struggling this year.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
but also watch some NCAA men's basketball. I haven't seen this before. You have four teams from the Big Ten in the top 10. You have Michigan State. You have Michigan.
Michigan.
You have Nebraska, who is undefeated. And there's one more. I can't. What's the other one? What's the
Oh
other one?
man, who?
I can't think of it. I can't think of the other one.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's Michigan State, Michigan, Nebraska, and one other team, and I can't think of it right now. It's well, anyway. Watch some NCAA basketball. Watch some hockey. Watch some NBA basketball. Golden State Warriors got some rough news at their last
Oh
game.
man,
Jimmy
I forgot
Butler
about
out
that.
for the season with a torn ACL. But above all else, just watch some sports and come back and see us. Take care.